enable. Thank you. Yeah, so welcome again. This is the Kitchen Table Poems Food and Friendship session with Hannah Williams-Barron. A couple more people came, 1 second. So yes, welcome again. Thank you for joining. Once the session is finished, we'll hope you rejoin us on the virtual event platform, and I'll also be sending out a reminder to fill out the reflection questions, the little mini survey after the event. But yeah, I'm here. Anyone can direct DM me if you have any questions about logistics or tech stuff throughout the presentation. And to get things started, I will pass it along to Hannah. Thank you all.
Awesome. Thanks, Grace. Hello, everybody. I'm Hannah. My pronouns are she, her. I'm coming to you live from Berkeley, California, not Chicago, which is the Sean Aloni land. And I'm really, really grateful to be here with you all. Before I start sharing some slides, I'm actually curious if folks want to put their favorite food into the chat just to get the delicious snacky vibes going. I'm always looking for more food inspiration. And also heads up that this is obviously a poetry workshop. So if you don't have something to write with, now would be a great time to grab maybe a paper, your favorite writing utensil. Also cool if you just want to type on your computer. Ooh, guac and chips, mangoes with sweet sticky rice, stuffed French toast, chickpeas, jambalaya, decadent chocolate cake with raspberry sauce. Wow, be still my heart. These are great food. These are incredible foods. Mandarin oranges, cuties, delicious. Box mac and cheese and can of tuna together. Yes, that will get the job done. Cheesecake brownies. Tamales, yum. Yum, yum, yum. Wow, I wish we could all be like at a beautiful giant table together, just chowing down at this pad thai. Oh, more. Okay, delicious. Feel free throughout if you want to just drop in a food you love into the chat. There's absolutely room for that here. So thank you all so much. All right. I'm assuming that people can see my screen. Yes, beautiful. Okay, so this is Kitchen Table Poems. I'm Hannah, as you know. This is a cute photo of me enjoying a delicious veggie burger that I had this weekend in a park with some friends. Just wanted to include that because I think it's a great photo of just like food joy in action. Like my eyes are trained on that burger in a delightful way. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Grace is popping a link into the chat right now, but there's going to be some zine action happening after this workshop. And we also have like a live illustrator who's going to be illustrating thoughts and contributions from this session. So amazing. So if you're interested in participating, particularly in having your work published in the zine, make sure that you fill out that Google form that's getting linked into the chat. It's going to happen after this. Just make sure that you open the link so you have it. Cool. So why food poems? This might feel like a funny topic for some of y'all who are not in the world of poetry, but to me, I'm coming to this work as a poet who is also a fat liberationist and a fat person in the world. So when I think about food justice, I'm thinking about ways that I can fatten both our definition of food justice to include lots of kinds of art and expression, but also to like physically bring fat people into the room and say that our experiences are really worthwhile if being considered in the context of food justice. So food poems to me are about celebrating all kinds of eating, all the ways that we eat together. And they give us room to reflect on abundance in our lives. The food poems we're writing today are gonna be, thinking about community care and how we cook together and how we care for one another. So I'm really excited. The bottom, you can see I wrote, my food justice is fat liberation. My food justice breathes through poetry. So much of the language of cooking and food is really beautiful and really invigorating and makes me want to be more present and more alive and more connected. And those I think are really important parts of movement building. On the right side of the screen, you can see a screenshot of Rose Cookbook. So the fat liberation organization that I organize with is called Fat Rose. We're working on a cookbook right now all about comfort food and fat experience. So if that resonates with you or folks you know, feel free to jump on the Fat Rose contact at the end and submit the foods that make you feel coziest and most comfortable. Anything that you put in the chat would also be appreciated. I'm going to start by reading just the very end of a beautiful fat food poem from this fantastic anthology, Fat and Queer, edited by Bruce Owens Grimm, Miguel Morales, and Tiff Ferrantini. This is a poem by Ruth Gibbs. These are just the last few stanzas, but they really resonate. Ishtar laughs with me over leftovers, pasta made by hand, full of love and dedication. Lilith screams with me, women villainized for daring to be beasts and monsters. Eve arranges apple slices and pomegranate seeds to stain excited fingers with no regrets. We all feast, women too big for history and shaped to slip happily between the thighs of myth. The first sin was a woman eating. So let's eat. For fat people, but really all people who fat people are in solidarity with, who have ways of enjoying and preparing food that are demonized by systems of oppression. Speaking out about it is actually a really political act. So it's beautiful and necessary when we can claim the way that we enjoy eating and cooking together and cooking the foods that work for us and make sense for our communities. So I'm going to give us some prompts and we're going to write some odes to meals that we've shared with our loved ones and just really say we have a right to abundant food pleasure and access to the food that we love. So here's another excerpt of a poem, and then after this, we're going to start writing. And this is from the poet Elizabeth Alexander. And this is a poem all about butter, particularly how her mom loved butter and the butter infiltrated their whole household. And as you're listening to me read this section of this poem, I want you to think about all of the beautiful food images that you might include in your own poem as you think about a meal that you're going to be reflecting on. Because just one item, one component of this meal, butter, can be talked about for so many lines, so many lines. There's so many ways to appreciate and uplift butter. So here we go. Think about that as you're listening. Growing up, we ate turkey cutlets sauteed in lemon and butter. Butter and cheese on green noodles, butter melting in small pools in the hearts of Yorkshire puddings. Butter better than gravy, staining white rice yellow. Butter glazing corn in slipping squares. Butter the lava and white volcanoes of hominy grits. Butter softening in a white bowl to be creamed with white sugar. Butter disappearing into whipped sweet potatoes with pineapple. Butter melted and curdy to pour over pancakes. Butter licked off the plate with warm Alaga syrup. Now get out your journal and picture for a moment a joyful memory of a meal that you shared with a friend or a family member. And once you have that meal in your mind, maybe it's one of the favorite foods that you put in the chat, we're just going to list out 4 of the smells you remember from that meal, 4 of the sounds, maybe of the cooking or the eating, 4 of the textures of the food itself that you were eating, and then 4 of the tastes that you remember, if you can separate them out or bring them together. And we're just going to take 5 minutes to do this, and then we're going to get into a little bit more writing. All right, let's write for 5. Got 2 minutes left. It's okay if you don't get 4 for every single category. Take about 30 more seconds. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna keep moving here. And now think of 3 metaphors for the food that you were eating. So for an example, you could say the sesame seeds were little stars. Think about a way to really appreciate that food for all of its beauty. We're just gonna do that for 2 minutes. So just come up with 3 metaphors for your meal. Awesome. Okay. Good work, everybody. I know we're moving quickly here. I appreciate you sticking with me. Now we're going to take those and write our poems. So I would love if you could title your poem Ode to Eating blank, whatever your meal was, with blank, the person or people that you shared it with. So that's going to be setting the scene for your poem. And then you're going to take from your lists that you just made at least one smell, taste, sound, and texture, at least one of each of those, and put them in your poem. and try to use at least one of those metaphors. Put that in your poem too. And if you feel yourself getting stuck, maybe you're having a hard time starting, you can just start by writing, I remember blank about your meal. And remember that odes are like love poems, right? They're about uplifting and celebrating and honoring the subject of the poem. So let's uplift and honor the food and the community surrounding this meal. Okay, we're going to do that just for about 10 minutes. So we're really just getting a draft here, and there will be a follow-up time for folks to work on refining and editing if you're worried about what you're submitting to the zine, but we'll discuss that later. All right. take one more minute to get your closing lines. Okay. We can put our little pencils down. I'd love to hear how that went for folks. I know there may be some new poets in the room. If you want to put in the chat or unmute, I would just love to hear for a sec, like, how you doing? How did that go? Amy says super fun, brought back memories. Warm and fuzzy. Yes, I love that. I know doing so many sensory details can really, really plant you in time in a way that I think I sometimes even forget, even as someone who writes poems all the time. So grounding. Sweet. Was that hard for anybody? Was anybody struggling to talk about food in a loving way? They know we're often really not taught to do that. Felt like that scene from Hook where the meal was coming to life. Oh my gosh. Incredible. Incredible. Oh, somebody says, how have I never done this before? Yeah, because food pleasure is not prioritized in our culture. That's why. I want to hear your poem, Nora. So curious. Yeah, we may just simply have time to hear that, Nora, if you want to share. Awesome. Okay, yeah, I think we should go ahead and like jump into sharing if folks feel willing. I would really love to hear people's food stories. So I don't want to put you on the spot, Nora. I did see that you went camera on. Would you want to maybe kick us off? We can share however much you want.
Yeah, sure. No, that's cool.
Great.
Yeah.
And while Nora is sharing, folks, if you can just put the lines and words that are sticking out to you into the chat so that she gets to hear that and feel your response in real time, that would be awesome. Thanks. Okay, go for it.
Cool. Oh, thank you so much. First of all, I'm like, this is so great and feels so grounding and also just feels really playful and fun. So this is an ode to eating Christmas dinner with my family. I remember the smell of boiling potatoes and roasted Cornish hens. The gravy simmers as juices are poured in. Chunks of butter are laid slowly on the boiled potatoes. Mash, mash. I crunch on a pickle as I fill the small dishes. Plates laid out on the holiday placemats. The cranberry sauce slides out of the can in perfect form. My dad quietly counts on his fingers all the dishes. Wines pop, plates overfilled. We all sit down. The meal was a long, warm hug.
Wow, I love that. Oh my gosh. You're totally right, Nora. Like it materialized. Ugh, I'm seeing like many people jumped at the same lines, like wines popping, long warm hug, closing off on a long warm hug, never a mistake. Thank you so much for sharing that beautiful food memory with us. Ugh, yeah, I want to be there. I kind of need like a sample plate from everybody's stories. I already know. I just had lunch, but I'm ready for more. Okay, let me remove myself, go back to gallery. Okay, who would like to share next? Give us a little taste. You can wave a hand or give a thumbs up. Jasper, amazing.
Okay, I'm just gonna read the first part. The tofu blocks were little firm moons floating up to emerge at the surface of the earthy mushroom broth night sky. This wilting, unidentified leafy green embraces the moons, shrinking and unfurling like it did at the beginning of its life as a sprout. And that's it.
That was beautiful, Jasper. And also, I think your computer was angled a little bit. For me, it was a little bit tricky to hear you. Would you maybe give your last lines again a little bit more into the mic, if you wouldn't mind? I don't want to miss them.
Oh yeah, sure.
Oh yeah, do you want to just do it again? So
Okay.
Amazing, thank you.
The tofu blocks were little firm moons floating up to emerge at the surface of the earthy mushroom broth night sky. This wilting, unidentified leafy green embraces the moons, shrinking and unfurling like it did at the beginning of its life as a sprout.
Wow, okay, I'm really glad that we got to hear that a second time. Thank you. Oh my gosh, yes. Multiple people shrinking and unfurling, earthy mushroom broth. Got some great verbs happening. Like, ooh, I love to think about things swirling in a soup or a stew and how they're all interacting with one another. That's beautiful. Thanks, Jasper. Amazing. Okay, other folks? Amazing. Is it Jeannie?
Yeah, it's Jeannie.
Awesome. Jeannie, go for it.
Okay, this is Ode to Eating Biscuits with the Farmers. 7-layer wonders, yellow butter as golden as 5 o'clock sun, streaming through the windows where they churned butter this morning. Pinched, rolled, and spread through 840 grams of flour. We stacked dough up to the ceiling, swatting flies and singing, out in Lukenbach, Texas, ain't nobody feeling no pain. Then muscle that whole mess down into a workable slab, dotted with that butter, that sweet, sweet golden butter that keeps our cheeks and bellies round for the hard work ahead.
Yes. Oh my gosh, you have multiple applause coming in. Wow. Could you read your last line again about cheeks and bellies round?
Yeah. Then muscle that whole mess down into a workable slab, dotted with that butter, that sweet, sweet golden butter that keeps our cheeks and bellies round for the hard work ahead.
Yes, I love that so much. Keeps our cheeks and bellies round for the hard work ahead. Wow. That really spoke to me. Thank you so much for sharing that. You're getting a lot of love in the chat right now.
Thank you for hosting this. This is so fun.
Yeah, absolutely. This is literally my favorite thing I could be doing in the middle of the day on Wednesday. I would love to hear more people's food stories if people still want to share. This is so delicious and tasty and fresh. Amy, go for it.
Hi, yeah, my poem is called Ode to Eating Tiramisu with My Coworkers. Okay. Within the first bite, the intense aroma of coffee filled my nostrils. Tasting rich chocolate cream felt quite like a dream. I could hear my tongue dancing on the soft, creamy texture that filled my mouth. The espresso flavor twirled around my taste buds like a ballerina in studio. One of the most beautiful sights was the delicate dust of cocoa powder resting atop the dessert, like a winter snowfall on a cold Chicago night.
Oh my God. I wasn't expecting it to go to Chicago, and it was so local. Wow. Oh my gosh. Everybody, I feel like should give some claps. That was so awesome. Wow. Oh, you gave us some like incredible detailed imagery of this tiramisu. I'm like, I was with you in every bite. The dust and the snow. I'm like, genius.
Yeah, I wanted to relate it back to Chicago. I was like, well, we have a bunch of snow here.
I feel like you kind of owe it to the group to drop a link to where you got that tiramisu.
My coworker made it. So my
Oh.
coworker is like a really good baker. So
Wow, limited time option. I love it. Congrats for having that amazing food experience. That's amazing. Wow, scrumptious. Who else would like to share? Carrie, I know you're here. Oh, Kaya, go for it, Kaya.
I'm loving all of these. Mine is Ode to Eating Dumplings with Jack and Beck. My kitchen windows fog with steam as the onions sizzle in the cast iron, filling the room with that sauteing onion smell. You know the one. The snick of Beck's cleaver cutting through the room as they chop mushrooms, lovingly. I run my hands along the smooth dumpling dough we're rolling through the pasta press, just translucent enough to see the outline of my fingers through. Jack's laugh fills the air as they try to find an open surface in the tiny space, counters full of cutting boards and sauces and dough. We cup our hands, turn dough into nests, spoon in mushrooms and tofu, pinch the edges to tuck sweet mouthfuls into bed. Place them gently into the bamboo steam baskets, the weave rough and reassuring. Tangle ourselves together into a knot of limbs and flour as we wait.
Oh my gosh, Kaya, I was just watching Jeannie's face through that. It was just grin, grin, grin. And then it was like passed around the screen. Oh, that was so sweet. And what like beautiful contrast I feel between the like delicateness and the building and everything. Wow. These are like beautiful poems, you guys. I'm really excited for these to go into the zine. Don't forget to fill out your consent form if you want to be published. These are also phenomenal. Oh my goodness. Other people who would like to share? And thank you also everybody who's been so brave and willing. I know it can be really intimidating in a group where you don't know everybody, maybe you haven't written a poem in a long time. So thank you so much for being willing to grace us with these beautiful meals. Cool. Okay. Well, I'm happy to share a little food poem. This poem takes place from the same afternoon where you saw a picture of me eating a burger just this weekend. Ode to Eating Fries with Kira. I remember salt crystals flickering in the light like monarch butterflies. I remember the first crunch and then the soft give, our fingers brushing against each other in the paper bags. It was late Saturday afternoon and there were voices all around. Happy voices, chickadees and sticky kids and double Dutch ropes clacking against the sidewalk. I remember being 12 and terrified to eat in public, let alone a perfect French fry. My pleasure had been vilified, wrongly called an epidemic. I remember fat people, my people, on TV holding burgers, but we never got to see their faces. Now I'm twice that age and fat enough to say no, I will not be moved. No, I will not throw out my leftovers in a closed off bag. That shame isn't welcome here. Here, we eat takeout in direct sunlight with our faces smiling and let the lemonade glide like bicycles rolling easily downhill. Here, the crinkle of greasy paper is a song I listen to over and over and over again. I taste hibiscus and red clover, jasmine and rhubarb, and feel friendship growing like apple trees. There is no harshness here, only round, fat lines, just the soft touch of a hamburger bun or a hand held. Two friends old enough to know we must give ourselves pleasure before anything else. Oh, thank you for the claps. Thanks everybody. Oh, thank you. Wow, sweetness.
That was so wonderful, Hannah. That was so good.
Thank you, Grace. We've just got a couple minutes left. So did anybody else have even a line they wanted to share? And if not, we can just give some closing reflections before we say goodbye.
Hey, Hannah, Enrique here. First off, again, thank you, and thank you to Grace for helping set this up. I wanted to share a few lines of something I've been working on.
Yes. Awesome.
And thanks everyone for a little bit of inspiration as well. I was making little edits while listening to other ones, oh, I like how that sounded. But yeah, so warm cumin and bachata fills the room with the cries of el perrito llorando debajo la mesa, begging for snacks, munching on broccoli, carrot, lettuce, whatever scraps my mom throws down. My abuelo, grabbing oranges from the fruit bowl, deftly peels them with a single wave of his knife, leaving soft little white balls, like pale coconuts. And the sharp citrus scent sneaks into every corner of the space.
Wow, that was great, Enrique. Thank you for sharing. Oh, I love the visual and the smell visual. I don't even know what the word is, but thinking of the citrus filling out, so glorious. Oh, I love it. Beautiful. Okay. I think we are now finally in closing time, which is so heartbreaking. This has been such a swift little workshop. I'm excited for folks to check out some of the other amazing programming happening at the summit this week. I hope that I get to see some of you there. But maybe we can just put in the chat, what is one delicious snack you're gonna have today? How are you gonna treat yourself? I would love to hear before we have to go. And thank you all again for sharing your beautiful, beautiful poems. We've gotten so much inspiration hearing from all this delicious food. Some hot tea to warm my hands up. Nice. Who's calling me? I'm sorry. Warm chickpeas. Yum. Yum, yum. Sweet potatoes. Amazing. Gorgeous. Kimchi tofu stew. Deliciousness. Italian beef. Oh, wow. Wow. Yum, 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 yum. So good. I realized before I forget, I want to show people my contact. If you're interested in connecting with me, I host workshops online at a sliding scale, and I'm hosting them pretty regularly. So would love to see folks there and another one in the future. Here's my info if you want to take a screenshot or a pic. And also, if you know anybody interested in joining Fat Rose, we have fat art making space every Tuesday night from 6 to 8. It's totally free, and we do organizing outside of that. So love to you all with a snack-filled revolution, and thanks for coming out.
Thanks everybody, and thanks so much, Hannah, for sharing. This was so nice. I'm so glad everyone was brave enough to share all your like super wonderful poems. I'm so inspired. Really quick before we go, we do have just I'm putting in the chat right now, in the Socio platform, there's a little survey that if you all wouldn't mind filling out would be really helpful for us, about how you felt about this session. And yeah, once you head over to the virtual platform and fill that out, then you're all done. And if you want to submit your stuff to the zine, that would be super awesome. I loved everything I heard today. So thank you all for your vulnerability and meeting us here. And I'm so excited to continue this work. So yeah, I'll be here in here for a little bit if anyone has any questions. And yeah, have a great day, you all. Everybody, thanks for coming. Oh, yay.
Yay.
Oh my gosh, and thank you so much for the wonderful graphic. It's gonna go in the zine if that is okay with you. So I'm really excited. It looks beautiful. Oh my god, I see the little butterfly earrings of Hannah. Wow.
This is so beautiful. Oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
Ah.
I'm so impressed.
Would it be possible to get my own access to this image? Like, could I share this? I would love to share this.
Yes, Hannah, we'll share out all of the images to all the speakers after the summit ends as like a little, thank you for helping make this all happen.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for having me. This was such a delight. Thank you again for your work. This was so special.
Mutual, so mutual. Thanks for coming. And this, yeah, I'm just like in awe about this, Ashton. You did such a great job.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, sweet. Awesome. I'll see y'all later.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good day, y'all.